Welcome to The Deep Dive. We're the show that cuts through the noise, digging into stacks of sources to bring you insights you can actually use.
That's right.
And today, we're tackling this really common belief, the one that says real wealth. That's something you inherit. Or maybe it only comes if you've got powerful connections.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
So the big question we're digging into for you, our listener, is this. Is it really possible? Can you build significant wealth starting from scratch?
Well, the short answer is yes. And it's not just possible. Our sources today show it's actually, increasingly common. The stats might surprise you.
Oh, yeah.
A 2019 report from WealthX found that an incredible 67.7% of the world's ultra-wealthy folks, and we're talking people with like $30 million or more in assets.
30 million plus.
Exactly. They were entirely self-made, built it themselves.
That's a huge majority. And what's really wild is how fast this seems to be happening.
Right. The number of ultra-wealthy people jumped from about 265,000 in 2019 to over 290,000 in 2020.
In just 1 year.
Just 1 year. That's almost a 10% increase.
Yeah.
And it's not just the super rich. If you look at all millionaires, something like 79% are first-generation rich.
So they didn't get a handout. They didn't inherit it. They built it. Ground up.
Exactly. And that acceleration, it really tells us something. It suggests the strategies for building wealth are, maybe more accessible and definitely more effective for people who really commit to it.
Okay, so what does that mean for you listening right now? Maybe you feel like you're starting from, absolute square one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our mission today is to unpack those strategies, the proven ones. We've sifted through a whole load of articles, research, different perspectives.
Yeah, a really comprehensive stack this time.
And we're going to pull out the actionable steps, the mindset shifts you need, the practical stuff you can actually do to build that financially free lifestyle. We're going to explore how to make your money truly work for you.
Okay, let's dive in. Because the journey, it starts way before you even look at your bank balance. Our sources all agree. It begins with your mindset.
Right. So building wealth from nothing. It sounds like it all starts up here in your head. That fair? What's the biggest psychological shift our sources talk about?
Absolutely fair, yeah. One of the clearest ways to put it comes from T. Harv Eker. He says, rich people are committed to being rich, but poor people want to be rich.
Committed versus want. That sounds subtle, but important.
It's everything. That difference between just, wishing for it and actually making a firm, unwavering decision, that's the core of it. Shifting from wanting to deciding.
Okay, that makes sense. And this connects to what some sources call money scripts, right?
Yeah.
These subconscious beliefs about money.
Exactly. Stuff you might have picked up really early on, maybe from your family, that can actually sabotage your financial success without you even realizing it.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, hearing you can't afford that all the time, or maybe believing money is bad, or even just this feeling of you'll never have a lot of money. These scripts run in the background.
So for someone listening, how can they check themselves this week? Is there a quick way to spot these hidden beliefs?
Well, one thing is to just pay attention. Notice your gut reaction when you think about money. Spending it, saving it, even just looking at your bank account.
What kind of reaction?
Do you feel anxious, guilty, maybe resentful? That feeling, that's often a clue, a signal there's a hidden script running. Then you ask yourself, is this thought actually true for me right now? Or is it just some old recording playing?
Ah, okay.
Think about Ron and Christina. We read about them. Ron, right, dual income, no kids, should be comfortable. But he was so afraid of money, he couldn't even bring himself to log into his bank account online.
Oh, why?
It went back to his dad, who was super restrictive with money. So Ron had this deep-seated fear, totally separate from their actual financial reality. He even said having more money probably wouldn't make him less nervous.
That's a really powerful example. How feelings about money can be, and I think this was a quote, highly uncorrelated with the numbers in the bank account.
Exactly. So the fix, according to our sources, is 1, identify the negative scripts. 2, challenge, is it actually true anymore? And 3, consciously, deliberately replace it with something positive, something empowering.
Which ties right into Carol Dweck's work on the growth mindset, doesn't it? Believing you can change your financial situation leads to, actually changing it.
Precisely. You have to believe improvement is possible. So once you've started working on that mental foundation, the next really practical step is getting a regular income source.
Seems obvious. maybe, but essential.
Totally essential. You can't save, you can't invest if there's no money coming in consistently. All our sources hammer this home. Sustainable wealth isn't about get-rich-quick stuff or, pyramid schemes or betting the farm.
No lottery tickets.
Probably not a reliable strategy, no. It comes from creating value over the long haul. Like Brian Tracy said, all wealth comes from adding value.
Okay, adding value. But it's not just about clocking in and out, is it?
Yeah.
How do the sources suggest people actually maximize the value they add and therefore what they earn?
Well, a few key things pop up again and again. Doing work you actually enjoy, for one. Leveraging your natural strengths. And really doing your homework on career paths.
Homework
Like using resources, say the Occupational Outlook Handbook in the US, to check out potential salaries, job growth, that kind of thing, making informed choices.
And crucially, it seems, investing in yourself continuously. Building your, human capital.
Exactly. Your skills, your knowledge, that's what makes you more valuable in the job market. And that translates directly to higher earning potential over time.
So we're talking degrees, maybe trade school, professional courses.
Yeah. Or even free stuff online. YouTube tutorials, Coursera, edX, Khan Academy. There's so much out there. It's about a constant commitment to getting better, sharpening your skills, both hard and soft skills.
Okay, income stream established and growing. Now, the big question, where does that money go? This is where budgeting comes in, right? And maybe extreme savings.
Definitely. Budgeting first. Our sources say living without one is like sailing without a compass. You're just drifting. You're guaranteed to get lost financially.
You need that plan, usually monthly, right, to control spending.
Exactly. It's your financial command center. Now, budgeting might sound like basic stuff, Finance 101.
Yeah, bit boring maybe.
Maybe. But our sources show this is where even smart people can trip up. It's not just tracking where the money went, it's directing where it will go.
That compass idea again.
Precisely. A common starting point people talk about is the 50.30.3 2C rule. You heard of that?
Vaguely. Remind me.
50% of your income for essentials, rent, food, utilities. 30% for non-essentials, wants, entertainment. And the crucial 20% goes straight to savings and investment.
20%, okay.
But honestly, the simpler truth, like Jeff Bezos said, is frugality drives innovation. The less you spend, the more you have left to save and invest. It's basic math, but powerful.
And this leads to that extreme savings idea, the FIRE movement.
Yeah, financial independence, retire early. Some people take it really far. Like Jacob Lund Fisker, one of the sort of early figures, he apparently saved like 60 to 80% of his income.
60 to 80%. How?
Well, he retired at 33 and now supposedly lives on just $7,000 a year.
$7,000 a year. That's hard to imagine.
It is extreme, but it shows what's possible in terms of cutting expenses way beyond what most people think.
So that $7 Keller figure is mind-blowing. What's the mindset shift needed there? Can't just be cutting out vacations, right? It must be tiny things consistently.
Exactly. It's often lots of small choices adding up. Cooking at home way more. Buying groceries in bulk. Slashing the restaurant budget.
Maybe turning the thermostat up a degree in summer, down a degree in winter.
Yeah, those little things add up on utility bills. Doing workouts at home instead of a gym membership, waiting for big sales events like GTEX or Dubai Shopping Festival were mentioned for one-off purchases.
Even trying to renegotiate your rent or your mortgage interest rate.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps. It really hammers home that idea. It's not about how much you make, but how much you keep.
Keeping it, which is harder than it sounds sometimes.
Which is why automation is key. Our sources strongly push the pay yourself first idea. Set up automatic transfers. The day you get paid, boom, money goes straight to savings or retirement accounts.
Takes the temptation away.
Exactly. Removes willpower from the equation. Builds wealth on autopilot.
Okay, so income's coming in, budget's tight, savings are piling up automatically.
Right.
Before we jump into growing that money, what's the absolute first thing you do with those savings, the non-negotiable step?
Emergency fund, no question. Think of it as like self-funded insurance, your financial shock absorber.
For unexpected stuff.
Exactly. Car blows up, you lose your job, another pandemic lockdown happens, stuff happens. This fund is what protects you.
And the research shows skipping this where people really get derailed, right? Forced into debt when they're already down.
Precisely. It prevents you from having to borrow money at high interest, or worse, sell your investments when the market's down just to cover an emergency. That can be devastating.
So how much should be in there?
The standard advice is 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses. Keep it somewhere safe and easy to access, like a high-yield savings account, not locked away.
Easily accessible, but not too easy maybe.
Yeah, maybe not under the mattress, but definitely liquid. And it's as critical if you use some of it, your top priority is to refill it immediately, back up to that 3 to 6 month level.
Got it. Foundation built, mindset, income, budget, savings, emergency fund topped up. Now for the exciting bit, making money work for you.
Now we're talking passive income and smart investing.
Okay, passive income first. The dream, right? Making money while you sleep. Warren Buffett quote.
That's the one. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Pretty stark.
So passive income means income you get without constantly trading your time for it.
Basically, yeah, income not requiring your continuous presence or labor. Now, sources distinguish between like investment passive income, your money working, and non-investment passive income, which might involve some side work, at least initially. Let's focus on the second type for a minute.
Okay. For someone starting from scratch, what's the key skill or quality needed? Beyond just like creating an e-boat once, what makes it actually successful?
Leverage. That's the word that comes up. Leveraging your existing skills or knowledge in a scalable way.
Like Sarah, the graphic designer.
Exactly. She didn't just do client work. She leveraged her design skills to create templates, put them on Etsy, create once, sell many times.
And it worked.
Amazingly well. Within 2 years, the passive income from her templates matched her active income from the design studio.
Wow. That's impactful. So we're talking things like selling digital products, ebooks, courses, webinars.
Right. Or blogging. You can monetize that with ads, selling your own stuff, memberships, sponsorships.
Affiliate marketing, selling other people's products.
Yep, for a commission. Or even drop shipping, selling physical products without ever touching the inventory yourself.
You got to be careful here, right? Lots of scams promise passive income.
Absolutely. Critical point. Be very wary of get-rich-quick proposals, Ponzi schemes, things that sound too good to be true. Stick to proven models where you're providing real value.
Okay, so you've got some passive income streams, maybe starting up, you're saving consistently.
Yeah.
Now it's time to really invest those savings.
Yes, and this is crucial. Just letting money sit in a regular savings account with interest rates often under like 1% APR?
Yeah, inflation eats that alive.
Completely. Your money actually loses purchasing power over time. Our sources are crystal clear. Real wealth comes from making your money work harder than you do. Putting it into things where it can grow based on the efforts and innovations of others, that means investing.
But it's not about trying to be Gordon Gekko.
Right.
Timing the market. Buy low, sell high.
Definitely not. That seems to be a huge trap people fall into. Trying to time the market. Peter Lynch had a great quote. More people lose money waiting for corrections and anticipating corrections than the actual corrections. You can't predict the future.
So think long term.
Long term is everything. Which leads us straight to passive investing versus active investing.
And the sources really push passive, don't they?
Overwhelmingly. It's just simpler, cheaper, lower fees, often lower taxes. It's less risky because you're automatically diversified. It's more transparent. And here's the kicker. It tends to be more profitable in the long run for most people.
More profitable, even though you're just aiming for average market returns.
Because beating the market consistently is incredibly hard, even for professionals. Warren Buffett basically said as much in his 2007 shareholder letter. He said the passive group, he called them the know-nothings, must win over time against the high-fee active managers.
Okay, so for someone still tempted to pick stocks, maybe they think they're the next Buffett, what's the single most compelling reason the research gives for why passive ETFs usually win out?
Honestly, it probably boils down to acknowledging reality. The data just shows very, very few people, including pros, can consistently beat the market averages, especially after you factor in fees and taxes.
So humility pays off.
You could say that. And ETFs make getting that average market return incredibly easy and cheap. They give you instant, broad diversification. So that average return actually ends up being pretty darn good and much more reliable over time.
Okay, sold on passive. What are the best tools? Specifically ETFs.
Right, exchange-traded funds. Think of them like baskets of investments that trade on stock exchanges, just like individual stocks.
What kind of baskets?
Well, first, stock ETFs. Instead of picking one company, which is risky, these hold shares in hundreds, sometimes thousands of companies. You get growth potential, but diversified across different markets like developed, emerging, US, different company sizes, different industries.
Makes sense. Vanguard was mentioned as a place to look.
Yeah, they're known for low-cost, broad market ETFs. Good starting point for building a core portfolio. Stock ETFs generally offer the highest potential returns, but diversification within them is key.
Okay, what else besides stocks?
Bond ETFs. Bonds are basically loans you make to governments or corporations. They pay interest.
Safer than stocks.
Generally, yes. Less risky, but usually lower returns. The key thing is, adding bonds to a stock portfolio reduces the overall ups and downs, smooths the ride.
Okay, stocks, bonds, anything else?
REIT ETFs, real estate investment trusts. It's a way to invest in real estate without actually buying property.
How does that work?
These ETFs hold stocks of companies that own or finance income-producing real estate shopping malls, apartments, office buildings, so you benefit if those companies do well. Plus, REITs legally have to pay out most of their income, like 90% as dividends.
So potentially steady income stream there too.
Can be, yeah. So you combine these stocks, bonds, maybe some REITs, and you get diversification.
And that diversification, it's not just jargon. Our sources really stress this is your safety net, right?
Absolutely. It's how you protect yourself. Think about the dot-com crash
Right.
or the 2008-2009 housing meltdown. If all your money was just in tech stocks or just in real estate, disaster. Diversification means one part of the market getting hammered doesn't wipe you out.
Okay, so building this diversified ETF portfolio sounds like it can still be complicated for a beginner.
Well, that's where technology comes in. This gets really interesting for modern investors. Robo-advisors.
Robo-advisors, I saw that mentioned a lot. How do they actually make things simpler?
They basically automate the whole process. You tell them your goals, your timeline, how much risk you're comfortable with,
And then what?
and then they use algorithms, often based on something called modern portfolio theory. It's a Nobel Prize winning concept, basically about maximizing return for a given level of risk to build you a customized, diversified portfolio of low-cost ETFs. Stocks, bonds, REITs, the whole mix.
And they manage it too.
Yep. They automate your deposits, they reinvest your dividends for you, and they automatically rebalance your portfolio periodically to keep it aligned with your goals.
Rebalance, meaning
Like, if stocks have shot up and now make up too much of your portfolio relative to your risk tolerance, the robo-advisor will automatically sell some stocks and buy some bonds to get you back to your target mix.
okay, so it takes the emotion out of it, prevents you from panic selling or trying to time the market.
Exactly. That's a huge benefit. It keeps you disciplined. Like one source said, quoting the Vanguard founder John Bogle, "Time is your friend, impulse is your enemy. Robo-advisors help you manage that impulse."
So it makes it almost easy.
Pretty much. All you need is to keep adding more money into that portfolio and watch your money grow within your chosen ETF allocation. It handles the complexity.
Okay, money's growing, portfolio's automated, but we need to protect it too, right?
Just as important, protecting your assets. Insurance is the big one here. Our sources really stress this. Don't lose what you've worked so hard to build because of some random event.
Makes sense. What are the essential types?
Health insurance, obviously. Critical. Then homeowners or renters insurance, auto insurance if you drive, and life insurance, especially term life insurance if you have people who depend on your income.
And disability insurance too, to replace income if you can't work.
Yes, very important, often overlooked. Jack Ma had a great quote. "Buying insurance cannot change your life, but it prevents your life from being changed."
That puts it perfectly.
Yeah.
But you can overdo it, right?
Oh, definitely. You need to be smart about it.
Yeah.
Don't get sold policies you don't need. Cover the major risks, but don't go overboard.
Okay, insurance covered. What about debt? That seems like the opposite of building wealth.
It absolutely can be, especially high interest debt like credit cards. That stuff is a major drag on your net worth. Our sources say paying that off should be your absolute top priority before you even think about serious investing beyond maybe a company match in a retirement plan.
Get rid of the expensive debt first.
Yes. Then take the money you are paying towards that debt and redirect it into savings and investments. And generally, try to avoid using debt for things that lose value, cars, clothes, boats.
Right, and definitely don't borrow money to invest unless you really, really understand the risks. Yeah.
Huge risks there. Leverage cuts both ways. For tackling existing high-interest debt, the debt avalanche method gets mentioned a lot.
Avalanche. How that work?
You list all your debts, order them by interest rate highest to lowest, make minimum payments on everything except the one with the highest interest rate. Throw every extra penny you have at that top one until it's gone, then attack the next highest, and so on.
Creates momentum.
Exactly. Mathematically, it saves you the most money on interest.
We read about David and Halima, didn't we? Their debt story was kind of terrifying.
It really was. Over $500,000 in debt. despite a good income. It was a mix of irresponsible credit card use and falling for those get-rich-quick things, MLMs, timeshares.
Multi-level marketing, yeah.
Oh.
And they even considered using a 0% balance transfer to basically finance a car.
Crazy, right. But they turned it around. Their breakthrough was creating a red flag word.
Oh yeah, bananas. I loved that.
You too. Such a simple, powerful idea. Anytime they felt pressured or tempted by a risky financial move, one of them would just say, bananas, and the conversation stopped.
Brilliant. Just cuts through the sales pitch or the impulse, shows how important setting boundaries is.
And being aware of those dangerous impulses. It also highlights why you need to be so careful with predatory lenders, payday loans, crazy high-interest cash advances. Always read the fine print.
Okay, so avoid bad debt, but what about good credit? That's important, right?
Vital. A good credit score saves you a ton of money over your lifetime through lower interest rates on mortgages, car loans, even insurance sometimes.
So how do you build good credit?
It's pretty straightforward, mostly habits. Pay every single bill on time. Keep your credit utilization low. That means don't max out your credit cards. Try to use less than 30% of your available credit. Check your credit report regularly for errors. And while you need some credit history, don't open too many new accounts all at once.
Right. Consistent, responsible behavior over time.
That's the name of the game.
Okay, one last big area often overlooked, taxes. They can really eat into your wealth if you're not careful.
It's a huge drag, yeah. But there are smart ways to minimize their impact, legally, of course.
Like what?
The biggest one is using tax-advantaged accounts. Things like 529 plans for college savings, IRAs, individual retirement arrangements, and workplace retirement plans like 401ks or 403bs.
How do they help with taxes?
Well, traditional accounts, like a traditional IRA or 401k, often give you a tax deduction now for your contributions, and your investments grow tax-deferred until you withdraw in retirement. Roth accounts, Roth IRA, Roth 401k, work the other way. No deduction now, but your investments grow tax-free, and qualified withdrawals in retirement are completely tax-free.
So you choose based on whether you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket now or later?
That's often the calculation, yeah.
Yeah.
There are also strategies about what you hold where. Like maybe putting investments expected to grow a lot, like stocks, in your regular taxable brokerage account, and putting investments that generate regular income, like bonds, in your tax-advantaged retirement accounts, because that income might be taxed at higher ordinary income rates if held outside.
Tax location efficiency.
Exactly. And also aiming for long-term capital gains. If you hold an investment for more than a year before selling it in a taxable account, any profit is usually taxed at a lower rate than short-term gains.
Lots to think about there. Probably worth talking to a pro.
Absolutely. Tax rules are complex and change. A qualified tax professional can give you advice tailored to your specific situation. Super important.
Okay, so mindset, income, budget, saving, emergency fund, passive income, passive investing, insurance, debt management, credit building, tax minimization. We've covered a lot of ground.
It's a comprehensive picture. And the final point really is that this is ongoing. It's not a one and done thing. Building wealth is, as the saying goes, a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, consistency seems to be the thread running through everything.
Totally. Consistent saving, consistent investing, making smart decisions consistently over time. It's about ongoing learning too. The world changes, markets change, your life changes. You have to adapt.
Reminds me of James Clear's idea of atomic habits. Those tiny, consistent improvements, like automating your savings transfer each month, or spending just 15 minutes a week looking at your finances.
Exactly. Those small things compound massively over decades. It's also about revisiting your plan. As your income grows, as your net worth increases, you need to reassess. Maybe set new goals, more ambitious goals.
Keep raising the bar for yourself.
Keep adjusting the strategy. It's never static. Your financial plan should evolve as your life evolves.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. The core message from this deep dive seems clear. Building wealth from nothing. It's not some mystical secret. It's not rocket science.
Nope. Hard work, yes. Focus, discipline, absolutely. But definitely achievable.
We've hit the key points. Getting your mindset right, building that income, mastering budgeting and saving, maybe even extreme saving, securing that emergency fund. Then smartly growing your money with passive investing, especially ETFs, and maybe using robo-advisors.
Right, and then protecting it all with the right insurance, managing debt smartly, building good credit, and being tax efficient.
These aren't just separate tactics, are they? They all work together. They build on each other.
Exactly, they compound over time. Consistently apply these principles, and you build a really strong financial foundation.
So, As you, our listener, start on this path or maybe continue on it, here's a final thought we want to leave you with. It's something beyond just hitting a certain number in your bank account. We challenge you to think, what does your rich life really look like?
Oh.
Financial freedom, the kind built through these strategies we've discussed, it isn't just about piling up money.
No, it's an enabler.
Exactly. It's about what that money unlocks. Maybe deeper meaning, more creativity, the freedom to live in line with your real values, not just chasing a paycheck. It's about building a foundation that supports the life you genuinely want to live. And often, it's about breaking old patterns, maybe even generational cycles, along the way.